I figure a lot of people who watch this show are young enough that they know Sammy Sosa only as that weird guy who played baseball, then went Michael Jackson and bleached his skin. Huh? Sammy did go a little weird after he went from very possibly being the most popular player in all of baseball in 1998, as well as the National League MVP in 1998, to being exiled and banned by the Cubs because of his alleged steroid use. The other day, poor Sammy Sosa, he finally apologized for his steroid use. I think he did. But apology was the condition he had to fulfill for Cubs chairman Tom Ricketts to let him back into the team's good graces and to invite him back to the Cubs convention, which is their winter fan fest in Chicago. I think he's going to go this year. But now allow me to apologize for being complicit in Sammy's downfall. You might say an accessory to his crime. Yeah, I was there in 1998 as a columnist for the Chicago Tribune. In fact, I wrote a book about that summer that saved baseball, the summer of love, the great home run chase that gripped America in a way nothing in baseball has over the last quarter century. Well, the truth is I actually wrote the text for a book published by my company, the Chicago Tribune, which did own the Chicago Cubs. But this is more of a coffee table kind of book, heavy on pictures. It was called Sammy's Season. But I did get paid extra for that book. So I did profit from the steroid-fueled scam that gripped the country even more than Michael Jordan's last dance season with the Bulls, which actually was the June warm-up in Chicago for Sammy Sosa versus Mark McGwire. I must admit, as much as I loved covering Jordan, you know how much I did. I had even more fun for 2 months covering every Cubs game, home and road, as we went into September, as Sammy and Mark battled it out like two mighty gladiators, smiting baseballs into the night at a record rate. Roger Maris's record 61 homers left in the Coliseum dust at their feet. I was there in Houston that Friday night, late September, when Sammy again took my breath away, left my jaw dropped with a line shot home run that just kept rising and rising and finally rising over the Astrodome's left field wall like something NASA should have tracked. I thought it was going to hit the wall. Then I thought it was going to make a hole in the wall. Then I thought it was going to make a hole in the stadium and be launched. And with that home run, he and Mark McGwire were tied with 66 home runs. Impossible. Awe-inspiring, jaw-dropping. I'm not sure I've ever been more enthralled, more entertained, more encapsulated by a sports development than that one. Then that Saturday and Sunday, final 2 games of the regular season, McGwire left Sosa in the dust by launching 4 more homers to win that great home run chase, 70 homers to 66 homers. Now, was I aware at the time that 70 and 66 were possibly steroid-fueled? I was. I first saw Sammy Sosa when he was this skinny 165-pound 20-year-old in the Texas Rangers clubhouse. That was 1989. I covered the Rangers at that point as a columnist in Dallas. Then went to the White Sox and then to the Cubs. But as a Cub, Sammy hit 36 homers, 40 homers, and 36 homers in 95, 96, and 97. So he did have rare natural power. You have to. But by 1998, Sammy, he looked like he could play defensive tackle for the Bears. I don't know what he weighed, 250, 260. I know the result. He went from 36 homers to 66 homers, 97 to 98. So one night I did pull baseball commissioner Bud Selig aside in the press box in Chicago, and I asked Selig what he knew about steroid use and abuse in baseball. And he said, sure, he knows all about it, but that the players' union was so powerful that Selig and the owners could not drive home and mandate regular testing or regular punishment. But you want to know what the truth was? Baseball looked the other way because the great home run race, it sold. It sold lots of ads for TV. It sold lots of newspapers for my newspaper. Remember the Nike ad, 98? Chicks dig the long ball. Did they? Everybody dug the long ball. Now, I did ask my sports editor about writing about steroid use, and he said he was open to it, and I believe he was, even though the Tribune did own the Cubs. Yet my sports editor warned me. He said, you're going to have airtight proof, as in I was going to have to witness Sosa getting shot up, or at least have a first-hand account of him getting injected with anabolic steroids. I knew no one in Sosa's inner circle. I don't think anybody in the media knew anyone in Sammy's inner circle. So, yeah, I shrugged, and I went along for a great ride. Much was made when the Cubs played at St. Louis. This was early September. Much was made of Sosa and McGwire being great friends who had even vacationed together, and it was all phony baloney. Sammy later told me he barely knew McGwire. Knew him only to say hello to him when Sammy was on first, which was the position Mark played. So the whole thing was a fairy tale scam. Then again, I'm sorry, I just could never work up a whole lot of righteous indignation over these cheaters obliterating baseball's sacred records. As Curt Schilling said at the time about steroids, and I quote, half the players are doing it and half are thinking about doing it, said Curt Schilling. Hey, Barry Bonds watched the great home run chase, and he basically said, okay, I'm late to the party, but here I come. Did he ever? I was there for Barry and his solo home run chase, chasing himself, actually. But now looking back, I must admit, I feel a little sorry for Sammy Sosa, this kid from the Dominican Republic who got swept up in the steroid craze and all of its fame and all of its fortune. He wasn't Bonds in ability, but he was at least in Barry's ballpark when it came to hitting talent, just in the ballpark. Steroids alone can't immediately transform you into an MVP. Sammy did have rare hand-eye coordination, rare natural power. Just getting stronger can't immediately produce numbers as they did in 1998 for Sammy. I mean, he hit 308 with a league-leading 158 runs batted in and 66 home runs. These are rare numbers. You have to have some talent already, rare talent, to get to those numbers, even with the help of strength, added strength. Yeah, Sammy could be a little prickly off camera. I had my battles with him off camera, but on camera, man, he had rare natural showmanship and charisma with this heart tap kisses that were part of his home run celebrations. It was fun to watch. That summer, I swear, he rivaled Jordan's popularity in Chicago. And he was much more lovable than McGwire, the white guy American. But McGwire was a naturally grumpy sourpuss who shrank from the spotlight. McGwire was Paul Bunyan, almost mythical giant of a man. Sammy was human. Sammy had a smile warmer than August and September. Sammy Sosa was the one who made baseball the talk of the sports world that summer in ways it hasn't been since. And then after those congressional hearings, Sosa became a pariah, and no doubt it shook him, maybe even came close to destroying him. Other PED figures were fairly quickly welcomed back into the good graces of their teams that they played for, McGuire and Bonds and Clemens and Pettit. But Sosa, man, he had to grovel. He had to crawl. He finally had to apologize. And now let me apologize for being part and parcel of that 1998 scam, that bogus fairy tale, that book I helped create, Sammy's Season. But man, did I ever have fun that year. Thank you, Sammy, for that.